The month of May was considered Mental Health Awareness Month, but for some people, the headache is going to last throughout the entire year. The number one reason for stress in the United States is financial problems. What's going on, everybody? My name is Maoli Vodi with financiallypresent.com, your one-stop shop for financial and investment education. And today we're going to talk about ground zero, the very basic level of how you prepare yourself as an investor. We're going to talk about an emergency fund. In order to commit to investing, you have to save yourself from yourself. An emergency fund does exactly that. One of the general amounts that's recommended for most people is $1,000. An emergency fund of $1,000 can protect you from so many incidental things. And the idea of an emergency fund is that you actually use it for emergencies, but the goal is to keep it there as a buffer. You should not ever need to touch it if you keep yourself out of these situations. But if at any reason it is there, because it's very hard to commit to investing without an emergency fund. Let's be clear about emergency funds. This money, this $1,000, it's not for vacation. It's not to buy an IPO or a stock split. It's not to go buy gifts with for holidays or Christmas or things of that nature. It is a buffer for you. It helps as a defense mechanism to keep you on track and focused on your investment goals. Without this, you are subject to anything. It would be like going into battle without a weapon. The investment markets, they are not going to ask you, hey, are you prepared for the market to go down? Or do you only think that the market's going to go up constantly? The investment markets are not going to care if you are prepared outside of investing. And real life, as we know, happens outside of investing. And your emergency fund is one way to prepare. Of course, $1,000, it handles most emergency expenses at the basic level, but there is another step after that. So what is an emergency? This can vary, and there's so many different opinions about it, but imagine if your car broke down and you needed to have some repairs to your engine, or if an appliance broke in your home, like a fridge or your oven, something that you cannot go many days without. Another type of emergency could be you're in a car accident. You need to be able to pay the deductible in order for the insurance company to fulfill their end of the deal, right? But the goal of an emergency fund is to prevent you from having to charge your credit card for specific things or take out a payday loan or something of that sort. You want to stay away from those things because they are a blockade as far as your investment life is concerned. When it comes to investing, especially long-term investing, the worst thing you want to do is buy your investment and commit to holding it for a long period of time and then have an emergency come up that you could not handle without liquidating or selling your investments. Because then you have to deal with the pain of regret. Or to have some type of other situation where someone wants to borrow money from you and you have to go into your emergency fund. The emergency fund is designed to keep you in a static state, a state where you can defend any interference and still maintain your goals. Emergency funds have been used by investors for the longest time. And why is that? Because it keeps them on track and on their objectives. If you approach a financial advisor and ask them if they can invest their money for you, the first thing they're going to look for is to understand if you can maintain your holdings. If you had to sell something in order to cover an emergency, they are more than likely going to tell you, sorry, I'm not going to invest for you because I can't guarantee that you're actually going to be able to ride out the ups and downs of the market. So it is extremely important to have an emergency fund, and not just only the $1,000, but there are other levels to building your emergency fund so that you continue to stay on track. The emergency fund of $1,000 is mainly to keep you on base. Everything after that is going to help you grow into a more strengthened and a more seasoned investor. All right, so what are some ways you would be able to save up your emergency fund? Well, break it up into little pieces if you feel that it's going to be very difficult. For example, if it's $1,000, you can say, hey, I want to save $200 a week for the next 5 weeks. Or you can save $100 a week for the next 10 weeks or 2.5 months. Another way would be to save $50 a week for the next 5 months. All of these are different ways to be able to build up that $1,000, because once you hit that goal, it creates a defense barrier against all of the many issues that most people run into that slow them down towards their investment path. If you already have the emergency fund, great. That is perfect. What you need to do is make sure that it's separate from your other spending money so that there's no blurred vision when it comes to what's yours for spending and investing and what's yours for emergencies. So it may mean you have an additional savings account attached to your checking account, or you have the money placed in a different account at a different institution, but it needs to be within reach if you do happen to have an emergency, but also not part of regular spending, so that if you happen to overdraft, it goes and pulls from that. We don't want that. Overdrafting is not an emergency. Now, there's one more reason that I think an emergency fund is extremely important for any investor. But before I get into that, I want you to take a moment, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the page, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on future notifications. All right, so the number one reason I believe it's important to have an emergency fund is your mental health. Stress is the number one cause of so many other ailments here in our society, whether it's cardiovascular issues, whether it's marital issues or stress or depression or anxiety, headaches, skin issues, and so many different things. And if you are able to at least have something that helps prevent some level of stress in your life, even if you're not an investor at all, it is extremely important that you at least have an emergency fund. In order to invest at all, you need to start with savings. So it would be like if you didn't have your savings intact, it'd be like trying to build a home without the foundation being built first. There's no way it'd be a happy home. In order to be an investor, you have to realize that investing is a byproduct of savings. You have to make your savings critical. In order to build a house, you don't start with the roof first, you start with the foundation and then you build up from there. And that's what investing is like. Now, as a special gift to all my YouTube viewers, I do have something special for you, and you're going to see that linked below. It's a discount code that you'll be able to use for the rest of the month of June, so that you can use it towards any membership on the Financially Present website. If this video was helpful, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the page, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out. And until next time, stay present.